All right, we're live, guys.
All right. I just want to welcome everybody who's joining us today. We are live with Colin Pape, the CEO of PreSearch. Very excited to talk with Colin. He's going to fill us in basically what PreSearch is about and why you should be taking a look at it and just getting all kinds of good information on the project. So we also have Grant here. He's our Discord manager, and you've probably seen him in other AMAs, and he's going to be along with us on this ride. So Colin, very nice to meet you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate it, Rob, and thanks, Grant, for the opportunity. Great to meet you and your communities. I'm the founder of PreSearch. It is a decentralized search engine. We have a cryptocurrency called Pre that we utilize to reward people for searching on PreSearch. So that's kind of the go-to-market strategy way that we've been able to bring on more than 2.35 million registered users, doing more than 1.2 million searches a day. And the token is also utilized to reward our node operators who provide infrastructure for the project. And then to close the demand loop, we've got an advertising platform that uses something called keyword staking. So I've been at it since 2017, specifically with this project. And got a great team, great community, and lots of really good stuff happening. So yeah, great to be here.
Awesome, cool. How big's the team over there at Pre? Like, is it you and a couple people in the office, or you guys have a big team?
You know what? We're fully distributed essentially. My partner Tom and I are both in the same community, but aside from that, everybody else is remote. We've got people in the U.S., Netherlands, Poland, Florida. They're kind of Denmark, all over the place. There's about a dozen people that are working on the project, and yeah, as far as development goes, we've got a developer here as well, and then yeah, rest of the team is remote. But cool. Yeah, awesome group of people to work with, definitely.
Right on, man. And so I know PreSearch is, you guys created this around 2017. Do you want to give us a little bit more background on that?
Yeah, sure. So PreSearch, the project started in 2017. We built it originally as kind of a prototype product back in 2013. We through my other company, shopcity.com, had this just like weird experience with Google in 2011. They blocked all of our sites. We ended up participating in this FTC antitrust investigation and got a bunch of press for it. And we were able to, fortunately kind of get our issue resolved. But in the process of doing that, realized just how much market power Google has, more than 92% market share, and the ability to make or break, not just, companies, but to really steer the world's information. Yeah. And we thought, there should be more of a level playing field for search. And so built out kind of this multi-search tool or platform where people could direct their queries into different resources. And then in 2017, when we realized how we can utilize cryptocurrency and specifically Ethereum as a go-to-market strategy, and then to close the loop on the advertising platform, we just kind of, went all in on it and found a couple of channels that really worked to get the word out, CoinMarketCap banner advertising specifically. Yeah. And project kind of took off, and we attracted some great talent and started building the product. And yeah, here we are now with more than 2 million users and more than 1 million searches a day. And yeah, it's been an awesome ride, definitely.
Yeah, I know. Google is 100 billion searches a month right now, right?
It's unbelievable. I mean, because it's not just google.com. Ultimately, it's, they have the number 2 search engine, which a lot of people don't think of, which is YouTube. So many people go right to YouTube now, and then, they've got Android, they've got Google Maps, which is number 1 mapping, number 1 email program with Gmail. So like they number 1 browser with Chrome. They've just got like number 1, like basically right across the internet, aside from social media. And so yeah, just a lot of concentration of power really within one company. And just really seems like the perfect opportunity for decentralization to start to distribute that power and some of those economic forces out more to users. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you guys are working on getting the mainnet launched. You guys have a time frame when that might be? I know a lot of us node operators are just, we want more searches. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're super excited to get it out as well. So yeah, right now, kind of the searches that are happening on the testnet, it's really just people who are specifically utilizing testnet. So you can go into PreSearch and you can click that gear icon, and then you can change your default search engine to testnet if you just type in test, and then so that's kind of the searches that are going on it right now. But the production searches, more than 1.2 million, are currently basically being handled by like centralized nodes. It's the same software, but we're essentially running all these nodes on AWS. And so timeline right now, 100% before the end of the year. I don't have a specific date. We're targeting first half of November, basically. And we got a few things that are kind of coming out before then, on the development front, and then just kind of on the marketing front as well. Like we're going to be switching to presearch.com instead of .org, and there's some changes like that are going to roll out kind of between now and then. But it's getting pretty close. We're I'm going to say a couple of months at most away. So exciting times.
Amazing. And I know, a lot of us are rushing to kind of launch nodes right now. It's 1,000 minimum stake, but when mainnet launches, or maybe before that, you guys are gonna raise that, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, the response to the nodes has definitely exceeded our expectations. We're up to almost 20,000 nodes right now, which is unbelievable, and super appreciated and amazing. But we're kind of looking at just increasing that barrier to entry a little bit to slow the growth. And so we haven't announced the amount yet or the date, but it's going to come pretty soon. There will definitely be an increased amount required to stake a node, but we are going to grandfather all the existing staked nodes at the current level. So if you've got 1,000 in right now, then if you leave it on, you'll be able to continue to run that node at 1,000 pre. So
we appreciate that, because I mean, I know in the Cryptonairz Discord, we have been kind of going crazy launching pre-nodes, and I've launched about 100 myself, and
wow.
I'm thinking of maybe I do need another 50 or something like that. But
that's awesome.
We are very big believers in PreSearch, and we really like the project, and we think big things about it. And so, is there going to be a max on how many nodes people will be able to launch, though? I know you guys are about 20,000 now. I mean, is there a point where there's too many nodes, as far as that goes?
We're right now we're not talking about capping the number, but we have basically, like I said, exceeded what we expected, and there's been really significant growth just in the past 60 days. We've gone from like 10,000 to 19,500 or something within basically, I'm going to say 45 days or so. So now it's actually a really good thing and good timing, because ahead of mainnet, now we're just running into any of those scaling challenges. We're getting those solved. So there really ultimately shouldn't be a technical reason why we wouldn't want more nodes. It's really it is kind of to some degree about distributing the footprint out there, and also as we start getting distributed node gateways. Right now it's currently kind of running through one, more or less, single gateway set that is in one geographic area. And ultimately we want to distribute that out around the world so that latency goes down, and we have searches that are being served by nodes closer to the actual user. And so, as that starts to roll out, which again is going to happen before mainnet, some of those nodes are going to start to just be accessed through different gateways, and so at this point, don't have a cap on it. Don't have plans to introduce a cap, but I think time's going to tell. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we've seen pretty significant growth in traffic. We got that Android deal at the beginning of September, huge. Which was huge. It's driving a lot of new users, and specifically from Europe. So to some degree, we want to see like more node coverage happening in Europe, I would say. But overall, we're just going to kind of see what happens when we switch production traffic onto the network, and it may be that we want even more nodes. Who knows? So
yeah, and I know you guys got like 130 million tokens staked already, right? Either with keywords or on nodes, and so I mean we're looking at what 500 million total token supply, and you guys already have what like 1/4 of the tokens already staked, right?
Yeah, I think as far as the circulating supply, yeah, we're getting pretty close to a third of the tokens staked, which is awesome. And you know, there's definitely more interest than ever in node staking as well as keyword staking. They're both doing really well. Keyword staking we haven't actively pushed on the outbound side as hard as we plan to. We've been kind of waiting just to get, like more users in North America and Europe specifically. And then also, trying to get a bit of a better token value so that as we start pushing it out to corporations, crypto projects, what have you, what we have left in treasury, as well as just, kind of for the rest of the community holding pre, we want to be able to really kind of maximize that value. And so, everything's kind of, coming into place, and soon we'll be doing a lot of active outbound sales and marketing on the advertising front as well.
Yeah. Are you guys? Oh, I'm sorry, Grant. Go for it.
No, I had a question just to kind of follow up, and I had to step away for a second. But speaking of just being decentralized as a search engine, for example, we just talked about Google, and I think we can all agree that Google, when you search something, they're going to place at the top what they want you to see. I've experienced that, and we've used VPNs and things like that. You're going to see different things.
Yep.
I guess my question to you, how is PreSearch going to handle the searches as far as what you're going to see? Is that going to be all based on keyword staking? And then the richest man put what you're going to see up front first, or how does that work?
I mean, to some degree, there is that element with keyword staking. Right now it's whoever's staking the most to a term is getting all the traffic. We are looking at different models though, where there could be distributed traffic. So let's say you've got 100,000 pre as the total amount staked across, like, let's say 4 people, and it's 50,000 and 30,000, 20,000, so something like that they would get pro rata the amount of traffic. So the person staking 50,000 out of the total 100,000 would get 50% of all the searches, and then the other ones would be displayed pro rata as well. So we're looking at those types of models. We're also we've got a concept for like negative keyword staking, so that if somebody staked something that the community really didn't like, that they could essentially stake against it and demote it and make it harder for it to actually rank. And so we're kind of working on things like that. Ultimately, we see the organic results being more community curated. I mean, right now it's going out, it's hitting existing search engines, databases, APIs, kind of combining those results, with our own algorithm. But ultimately, we see that handling kind of the long tail of search. So there's, all these things that, you've got to be really good at in order for people to make it your primary search engine. And it's really hard. I mean, Bing spent like $5 billion building out their long tail index. Like, it's a super challenging problem. And so we could continue to basically handle that long tail with the existing system, but then we can start layering on top of it community curated results. And so it might be cool. People that are, staking something to support, hey, this is a quality result. I mean, we're not, really there yet, but we see that that's a huge opportunity to essentially, put that in the hands of the community. And there's lots of mechanisms that we can introduce so that it's not just, kind of the person with the most tokens, has the ability to influence everything. So that's definitely, one of our primary concerns. It's not so much a problem right now in the short term, but longer term, as we get more traffic, there's more influence for, that positioning. We're going to need to introduce more governance mechanisms in place so that, we don't have dominance, or we don't have, the same type of bias and agenda that, people are complaining about right now in Google and other search engines. So.
Yeah, I've actually I've gone in there and played with some keyword staking. Actually, Cryptonairz has some ads running from keyword staking. So,
Sweet.
definitely been using it. Absolutely, I think it's
Cool.
awesome. And I did look at crypto. KuCoin has 1.2 million pre-staked on crypto. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that, but we did play around with some other keywords, and so we do have some crypto staked, pushing that Cryptonairz, our Discord and stuff like that. I did want to ask you, are you guys working with any kind of big marketing kind of campaigns right now, or any kind of any projects that you're working with that you're super interested in that we should know about?
We've got a couple that we're not quite ready to announce yet, but the one that we'll be announcing pretty soon, like they're huge, and it's something where they've come to us. They've recognized how much traffic we're driving to some of their competitors, and so it's going to be pretty significant for the project. Like a lot more exposure than we're currently getting just in kind of the broader crypto space. And then we're always interested in projects where the values are aligned. We've been trying to identify like decentralized node hosting platforms, and it seems like you guys have some interesting kind of potential opportunities there with some of the other projects that you're working on and are working with, and so we're open to all those types of things, and just as far as kind of broader marketing goes, I mean we've got a PR firm that has been really doing a great job. They're just starting to hit their stride. We've been working together for I guess maybe 8 months or 9 months now, and it's all just starting to come together. We've got with Mainnet launch coming up. There's just a lot of interest in the project. There's a lot of people that are looking to participate and kind of ride the wave together. So lots of stuff coming out of the woodworks. Just the past month in particular. The Google Android deal was a really big one. That was I got to give credit to Mark Dalton. If you see him in MadTN in Telegram, he was really the one to push us to try to seize the opportunity. And then Alex on our team, he just kind of like went all in and made it happen. But that was a really big deal for us and for crypto in general. It's one of the broader crypto adoption opportunities ever. So there's just lots of stuff that's kind of coming together.
I question. So can you just describe? I know a little bit about obviously I think it was the Google Android situation was over in the UK, or can you explain a little bit about that for the people that may not know what we're talking about?
Yeah, totally. So basically in 2018, the European Union fined Google. They basically found them to be abusing their dominant position with the #1 mobile operating system, Android, and the #1 browser with Chrome to push Google as the default search engine, which was an abuse of market power. And so they forced them as part of their settlement to implement this thing called the Android search choice screen. So previous to that, if you opened up Android for the first time, if you had a new phone, or if you were installing Chrome, you would just get Google, and that obviously worked out really well for Google. But now what happens, and as of 2018, it pops up with this screen that has a bunch of different search engines listed, and it's for anybody who's in the European Economic Union or Economic European Union, and it's pretty much everywhere in Europe, and so they all get this screen. And so the only crypto blockchain decentralized one is PreSearch. It's got other ones like Bing and DuckDuckGo and whatnot, but it now gives people an opportunity to choose, and it doesn't preference Google like it did before. When they first launched it, it was like a pay to play. And we looked at it and we were like, oh man, that's going to cost millions of dollars to get all these installs. It just isn't going to make economic sense. we were kind of too early, and just the numbers were really high. A lot of projects and other search engines couldn't participate. And so they ended up, the European Union went at them again, and then this time they forced them to offer it for free. And so Mark in the community was like, guys, get on this. You better not, blow this opportunety. And he kind of kept poking, guys, did you get it done yet? And then Alex really took the lead on it. And we were kind of surprised that they approved it. So we haven't been like super anti-Google, but we've been kind of, trying to highlight that, they've got a dominant position in the space and whatnot. And anyways, we got approved. Alex worked with the engineering team at Android as well as ours and got all the different components integrated. There's like, the home screen widget. It's got our actual app basically, and then the default search engine PreSearch. So and anyways, now we're in there, and we've seen huge growth in the number of new signups coming from Europe. It's been awesome.
Congrats on that. Big shout out to Alex for making that happen, right?
Yeah, man, huge.
And I know that you're not necessarily you have a team all over the world. It sounds like. What kind of, if any, challenges do you see trying to affect that, say in the United States? Clearly, we know that Google or Amazon, they have clear lobbyist protection almost in at least in the U.S. Have you thought about taking the same action or attempting the same action in the U.S. in a market like that? And maybe you're already doing that and you can't speak on it, but is there something in the works in that regard?
So I think there is definitely potential for similar actions in North America. I don't know if it would be the exact same thing. I mean, it's like it's crazy, man. Just being the default search engine, like Google pays Apple like something ridiculous. Don't quote me on it, but it's something like $14 billion a year in order to be the default search engine in Safari. It's nuts. And so there's massive economic value for them. And so it's definitely something that they would resist really strongly. Specifically here in North America, it would really take some real regulatory kind of might in order to force them to do something like that. I don't expect it's going to happen. If it were to happen, certainly we'd be interested in participating. We have participated in the past through Shop City with the FTC, and there was a Senate testimony involved as well at that time. But at this point, we're kind of figuring it's going to be more free market stuff, which is really more what we would prefer anyways, just from a values, voluntary libertarian standpoint. But, when we wrote the first white paper for PreSearch, we basically said, hey, we're going to use big tech against itself. That's how we're going to, be the David beating the Goliath. And so any of these types of opportunities we're going to take advantage of.
Strong. Grant, did you have any other follow-up questions?
No, thank you.
Cool. So, Colin, I know that you guys are currently paying people right now to use the search engine. I think it was at like 8 tokens a day. Now I think it's maybe down to like 3 you can earn. How much longer can you guys keep that up? Or is that something that's, now that it's blowing up, it's kind of going to fade away? I mean, how long do you think you'll be able to keep that going? Yeah,
so I think, we'd always like to see some type of reward. We think that's really interesting and appeals to people. PreSearch hoodie. I think you can get them now. Actually, Alex sent me a link, and there's an online store that's selling them now.
We will in the description of the video, we'll tag the store. So if anyone wants to get on and buy some PreSearch gear, let's do it. I'll get on there too and buy some as well.
Sick. Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Yeah, send your pics in, and we'll share them out on social media. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it's just kind of everything is coming together, I would say, and part of the rewards is in the early days it was really like, man, it was not as good as Google, it was not as good as DuckDuckGo. We had to incentivize people to use it because that was the main reason for people to do it. And so as the UI gets better, as things, become, more Google caliber, DuckDuckGo caliber. I think kind of the one thing that we're missing on like the front end right now, which we're, after mainnet launch, we'll be working on, is auto suggest or autocomplete within kind of the search field.
Yeah.
But we released the new UI yesterday. Feedback's been really positive. It's way more responsive. It loads faster. It's kind of cleaner. So as we improve the user experience, the need to incentivize goes down a little bit. We've also got, kind of this formula that is always kind of evolving. But, as the price of the token changes, if there's like an increase in value, then, you'll see the actual rewards in number of tokens decrease. Yeah. But then we're also looking eventually, let's say we phase out of pre as a reward. We might end up offering tokens from other projects. And so, hey, this week's reward sponsored by, whatever, some project, and you would essentially earn those within your wallet and then be able to kind of withdraw them out through the system. So we're looking at, lots of different models. And that's why I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think it's, excuse me, it's a really good just opportunity and kind of the system that we're building as far as combating abuse. And, we have a lot of work that's underway with like the new Web3 withdrawal system and working on, token bridges. And so as we start to, integrate with different platforms that make it just easy for token distributions to happen economically and technologically easily, I think it makes sense for us to become kind of a token reward distribution platform. So, yeah.
That's a really cool idea. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I love that actually. Just, you could sponsor any kind of token or project and give those away. I think that's a really strong idea. My question is if you have friends and family that you're like telling about PreSearch, what is like your pitch why they should use PreSearch over Google or DuckDuckGo or something like that? Do you have like that you tell your friends and family about?
Yeah. So, I mean, generally when I talk to people about it, I say, if they're familiar with DuckDuckGo, I say it's kind of like DuckDuckGo, but it's actually a little more private and it's community based. And I'll say, did you know that DuckDuckGo is actually like Bing? Like the results come from Bing, and there's a partnership with Microsoft, and it's a VC backed project, and it's not really about community or about kind of and so we'll talk a little bit about the decentralization and trying to build an alternative that's basically the people's search engine. That's effectively kind of what we're trying to build. And so I think that's a really good way to frame it. We're building the people's search engine. It's something that rewards you for your usage and the value that you bring. It protects your privacy. It's something where you can have a say in how it works. And so those are a lot of the things. And then obviously you earn tokens when you're searching on it. That's obviously one of the big points as well. So
I could see The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, because he's the people's champion, right? He could do a commercial for PreSearch, the people's search engine. I could definitely see that in the future here.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Hey, has all the tokens been minted? I was reading through the white paper. I know that, there was a portion of them, and then I guess there's still some that needs to be done. Has that been completed?
So there's still, so it's 500 million in total. There's about 450 in there, million that have been minted and are in circulation. So there's about 50 million or so to go to basically handle rewards, as well as any, sales that we're doing through the platform. We do from time to time, strategically, purchase them from holders or on markets, if it makes sense. So there's kind of, a little bit of, fluctuation there, I would say. But yeah, it's, definitely, we're kind of approaching the end of that runway, and, it's I think it'd be really interesting just to see, like, as it becomes more and more scarce, as the overall project kind of continues to pick up steam, and there's more economic value to the tokens and the role within keyword staking. It's going to be really interesting just to see how it all works.
I'm going to jump in here for a second, and you may have answered this. I guess one of the questions, and this comes from the community as well. in regards to tokens and rewards, what prevention is there to just if someone set up a bot, for example, just to continuously run pseudo searches, if you will, it just doesn't matter what they are, and I know that more than likely it's not necessarily directed at your specific node, but obviously the more searches you can generate, potentially the more income in node and token rewards. Is there something in place to prevent that?
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the way that the system works and the way that kind of the routing of traffic works. I mean, it's not really possible to direct more traffic to your specific node, so you would have to direct it to the entire network, which definitely could happen. But yeah, essentially, we've got and so we had historically this system that we called RVS, reward verification system, and it basically was looking at things kind of behind the scenes, like there's like rate limiting and stuff like that that's in place, just basic stuff. But then the way that the RVS had been functioning, it was looking at frequency and kind of things where there's just patterns. We basically had identified when we first launched it. I mean, honestly, the thing blew up. We didn't think it. We wanted to get 100,000 searchers so that we could have data and start testing things out. This was in like May of 2018, and we thought, okay, if within a year we can get to 100,000 searchers, then we'll have enough data. Well, by the end of the first month, we had 200,000 registered users and searchers, and all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, there's all these people trying to abuse the system, and so we had to really kind of work on this RVS system, and we rolled it out, and I mean it's worked really well at preventing abuse, truthfully, but the challenge is it's had too many false positives, so there are people that kind of get caught up in it, and just the actual user experience, just some of the messaging and stuff just wasn't really as I think friendly as it could have been, and anyways, we've got a whole new system that we launched I don't know 2 weeks ago, and so it's running in the background right now, basically collecting data. We'll be doing back testing on that over the next month or so, leading up to Mainnet launch. But it's looking at just way more signals. It's the messaging is friendly, kind of the process is really friendly. And so, yeah, I don't think it's going to cause the negativity that the previous system worked or generated, but it does actually, in all of our testing so far, identify even more, bad actors, and it just, it's because it's tough because you're trying to, at the same time you're preserving privacy. You don't want to be storing people's search queries, stuff like that, which it doesn't do. And so we've had to come up with some interesting and pretty novel ways of tackling the problem. But yeah, it's definitely something, people do try to game the system 100%. We haven't seen too many people be really successful. We're aware of all the bots that are out there. We've kind of taken a bit of an approach that, maybe those guys don't like a lot, but we've kind of let them do it. And we just don't tell them that we know until after, and then they try to withdraw, and then we're like, oh, sorry. Right. And so, I mean, it sometimes we feel bad because people probably think, oh yeah, man, I'm going to get rich off this. But, at the end of the day, there's been only a handful where it's we're like, oh, wow, yeah, we totally, somehow the system missed that or whatever. So, I mean, it can definitely happen 100%. It's definitely a risk. But yeah, we've spent a lot of time working on it. Hasn't been a problem to date, and the new system is just way more elegant than the previous system. So
okay. So speaking of decentralization, as far as not storing what you're searching,
mm-hmm.
there clearly is some type of information that would be passed to you guys, whether IP for searches and things like that. Is that stored, or is it just a flag that this IP is making rapid searches, or are you not willing to say for your own, obviously, protection of your platform?
Yeah, I mean, basically the way that we look at data storage, we don't want data storage because it's a risk, right? We don't. I mean, I'm a libertarian, maybe anarchist a little bit, and I don't want to give any of these guys anything like, let's say, and some alphabet agency or something approached us like, hey, if we don't have it, then we can't give it, right?
Yeah.
And so the way that, there's kind of like a transitory log, basically. So it'll like be in the system for, a period of time, a pretty short period of time, just as part of like general server logs and stuff like that. But we're basically looking at it a little bit more like heuristically, and we're trying to basically do things similar to kind of what you mentioned, where we're not tracking associating searches with IP addresses and stuff like that, but there are ways to kind of divine some meaning out of it. As far as specifically just it's anti-abuse, that's all we're looking at. We don't want any other data. If there were no rewards, then and honestly, like if you want to search anonymously without logging in, then it's like even more anonymous, because at that point we don't need to protect on the reward side. So we do have a lot of people that are using it, and they're just using it as a search engine with no rewards. And it's that much more just private, anonymous. There's nothing. As soon as you're in rewards, collecting rewards, it's basically using that information more from a signal standpoint. But yeah, not like long-term storage of IP addresses and not storing searches at all. We just don't want that information. It's it's a risk, and so we've kind of tried to approach it as kind of conservatively as possible, making sure that that information is not stored, making sure that information, like nobody on our team has access to it. It's not like in our admin section, which there is an admin section, there is in every system, there's an admin section, like none of that stuff is there. Like nobody could ever go into an admin section and see what somebody's searching for or anything like that. It's not possible. I mean, basically we're kind of building it, which is kind of how we started it, like building it for ourselves. Yeah. And it's like, well, how would you want your data to be used? How would you want to be protected? And that's basically how, and honestly, I mean, it's the only thing that we search through. So like, I don't want, logs of my searches, anywhere that's accessible. So anyways, that's kind of how we're approaching it.
Yeah, that's the worst when you're, like before I moved all of my apps on my phone and everything to PreSearch, I would be searching on Google, and then I'd have ads for, like a weight bench or weird stuff, or sometimes I'll be talking about something and then all of a sudden I'm searching and then I have ads and I'm like, God, I hate this. And so it's been so nice to move to Pre, and I don't even have to worry about that stuff anymore. Do me a favor. In the white paper, it says there's about 10 use cases for Pre, but you guys are working on like 15 others. Can you just go through what a couple of the use cases are right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch that are really like on the node side, like, so specifically nodes right now. I mean, they're doing kind of this, proxying type, meta search where it's pulling from all these different sources. But ultimately, there's a whole bunch around, crawling and indexing, and so there's a bunch of different use cases that way. One thing that's kind of on the shorter term horizon that I'm pretty excited about is search staking. So as a way to increase your rewards that you earn as you search, that you'll be able to stake additional Pre, and then essentially prove that you're a legit user, and potentially in some cases it can indicate economic value that could be valuable to have a sponsor see, like, even, oh yeah, you reached X people that had more than 10,000 pre-staked or something. Like stuff like that might be really interesting and economically valuable. And then there's a bunch around kind of curation, essentially. So the negative keyword staking. We're looking at like for instance, like we've got an ad flagging system. So like if somebody posts a crappy ad right now, you can go in and you can report it. And so right now that's kind of happening centrally. So it goes to a team of people, and they kind of, oh yeah, this is a bad ad, this is a good ad, whatever. But like we don't ultimately want to be the ones making those judgment calls. So we see like a model where, for instance, the person who reports it if it gets, vetted by community members who are in some type of a pool where they, can approve and disapprove ads as kind of a collective. So you might need 5 people to go through it. And if it's, 3+ that say, yes, it's bad, then it's bad and it gets removed. And, there's potential for stakes even to be, forfeited if it's really, abusive terrible in some way. Right. And so that essentially the people who are doing that moderation can be rewarded for it. And the people who are reporting can be rewarded for it. But maybe, if they have too many false positives, for instance, then it happens in reverse, or they're not allowed to report anymore. Ultimately it's going to be around there's governance and there's curation. And I would say that those are going to be, a lot of the use cases. And then, we've got there's tons of people always say oh, you need to launch Premail, or you need to launch, any of these competing services to Google. And right now we're just want to focus on search. Search is such a huge opportunity. We want to be really laser focused on it. But there's a lot of different things ultimately that can kind of tie into this. I think one of the biggest ones is almost like position staking. So if you look at Google historically, they rolled out Google AdWords, which was a keyword advertising on Google.com. But then ultimately, what they did fairly soon after that is they built out the AdSense network, which was a way to monetize external properties. Yeah. And that became a huge revenue driver for Google, and it became a huge revenue driver for publishers. And so there may be ways where we can, start turning this into more of an ad network, something that can be embedded on crypto sites. And you could have your ad be displayed, on Cointelegraph or somewhere like that. And there might be a position staking that would happen with your pre-tokens in order to have your ad displayed on these different properties as well. So lots of just, interesting stuff along those lines. It's a huge market opportunity. It's the biggest one on the internet. So
yeah. Man, you guys are all set and ready to go. It seems like you have a lot of different ideas, and I can't wait to see, how you guys roll these out over the next couple months and couple years. Grant, did you have anything else or something? Any other comments?
Yeah, I do actually have a couple things. I wanted to commend you guys on your how open you are with the community. Obviously, it's a community-based platform, and giving them things back. Lefty Chris created a guide for pre-nodes that you guys actually put on your website. I think that's awesome. It's something that is really great that you guys did, because it shows the crypto community as a whole that if you produce something that's valuable, not only to the community, but obviously to your platform, that you guys are willing to not rewrite it, not make it your own, but post the communities. Can you talk a little bit about what went into whether you reached out to him or what went into posting that?
Yeah, honestly, it was just so well done. We were like, this is awesome. And honestly, like even Alex. So, okay, so I'll tell you just about everybody on the team. So Trey, how he first came in, I posted, the announcement on Bitcoin Talk. And it was the white paper that I had written. And, I've got a background in local search, and I've got a background in, web development and technology and kind of like light search, you could say. But I put this out, and instantly Trey was like, oh, dude, that's awesome. I'm really excited. Really big opportunity. I love your vision. But some of these things that you put in here, they're not, it's not the best. And it could be worded better this way and da-da-da. I was like, dude, man, thank you so much. And he knew crypto and everything. And it was like, hey, do you want to be an advisor to the project? Next thing we know, we've got like one of the world's leading open source search experts as an advisor to the project. Jeremiah, who is one of our lead web developers, he came in as an admin in Telegram. And before that, honestly, we launched our crowd sale portal, and we had we missed something, honestly, in it. It was a security hole. And it was up for not even 5 minutes. And all of a sudden, Jeremiah is like, guys, you need to plug this hole right now. It's a big potential problem. And it was like instant trust. It was like, wow, this guy could have screwed us. Instead, he, told us how to fix it, what it was. It was like it was like 2-second fix. It was nothing. It was just one of those stupid things when we first launched, from testnet onto a mainnet. But it was like, man, you're awesome. Hey, do you want to be a Telegram admin? Next thing we know, he's a Telegram admin. And then it's like, hey, so I built, this store for, selling PreSearch merchandise. Oh, wow, you do web development? Next thing we know, he's like doing all these other things. And now he's lead developer for PreSearch.
That's awesome.
Alex was a longtime community member. Marco, longtime community member, just, answering lots of questions in Telegram. And it's like, man, if somebody comes in and they identify that they're, really passionate about the project, they've got some talent, we don't care where they're from, we don't care what their background is, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like, what are you producing to the project, and is it valuable, and is it quality, and do other people like it, and do you have, that kind of like fit with just, vision and personality and everything. And if you do, then like, man, there's a place for you here, and we'll figure out how to get you resources so that you can, focus more of your time on it. And so with that one, it was just like, it came through and we're like, man, this is amazing. We can't believe that somebody just went out and did it. And so, yeah, let's link to that, because it's a community project. We don't want to like own it all. It's not about, our brand on it, or it's not about trademarks. It's not about patents. It's just about like delivering a product and, satisfying the needs of the community. And, ultimately, like, we see one of the biggest opportunities, and something, I should have mentioned with the, other opportunities for so if you search for Bitcoin on PreSearch, and then you see like we've got like a crypto package where it's got the pricing and stuff, that uses our open source community package system, which you can find on our GitHub. And so anybody can go in there if they know JavaScript, HTML, they can basically design one of those little UIs for like the knowledge panel, and it could be around anything. It could be sports scores, it could be weather, it could be travel information, whatever. And we can essentially enable that to be triggered on certain keywords, and then it will display their package. And then right now it has like the ability for them to have a link out to wherever they want, basically. And, we're looking at different ways that the people who are generating those types of knowledge panels can be compensated for adding value to PreSearch. And that's how we see PreSearch could as well take on Google and take on any of these other search engines, because we could have like, 100,000 people developing these things and knowing each space so much better than some big centralized company that has this like whole kind of like waterfall method product development, system. And, where it's top down and they're just trying to like, hey, this is what we think. And then they dish it out to you. It's like, no, if this is something that the community wants, they think is awesome, and it's got value, then, man, add it in. The more the merrier. So I'm glad that you asked that, man. That was a good question. Thank you.
You're such a down-to-earth person, Colin. I mean, this has been just such a really good chat. And I can see, why people, they start talking to you and they get involved with you. You're just so open, and I really appreciate the conversation. I had about like one or two more questions, and we'll let you go for this evening. You guys have any big exchange listings coming up? I know, you guys are on KuCoin and I think Uniswap. Any other ones coming up that we need to know about?
We are working on a couple. Can't really talk about them. Don't really have, but it's just from a distribution standpoint, definitely makes sense to have kind of as broad a distribution as possible. Looking at U.S. distribution for sure. A lot of our users and a lot of our advertisers and sponsors are U.S. based, and so we want to make it as easy as possible for people to buy pre. Coinbase has their Asset Hub program, which you can apply into, and so it's something that we've been working on, and they are always kind of adding new assets in. So that's not saying that that's a done deal or anything like expect that, but like definitely those are the types of platforms that we're looking at for distribution. And then I think, as we kind of talk more, over the next few weeks about this other partnership that we've got, I think it'll be kind of.
I'm really excited about this partnership. I think it's going to, sounds like it's going to blow up the token. So I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of partnerships, we had one question in the chat here, And it made me think of another project that is also decentralized that would almost work hand in hand, or not almost, they would work hand in hand with, I think, the vision that you guys have, and that would be DVPN. And I know obviously you guys have had your case out in the UK. You guys are now able to be on a platform out there, an Android, and from that aspect of things, the question from the community out in the chat is, have you thought about putting a built-in VPN in your searches? And I kind of, when I saw that, I immediately thought of DVPN and how kind of what a neat partnership that may look like if that was an option for you.
That would definitely be an interesting partnership, and anybody that's trying to tackle privacy and kind of Web3 internet is definitely projects that we want to connect with. So yeah, I mean, if and also the way a lot of this stuff happens, it's same as how we talked about how we built the team. It's like a lot of the time it's like community members are members of multiple communities. And they're like, hey, this is a project. Have you checked it out? Really good fit. Hey, we know the founders because we're active in that community. And then we get connected. And the next thing we know, like there's some type of a partnership. That's generally how it happens. And so, yeah, that one, I just looked it up while you were mentioning it. That definitely looks interesting.
We would love to introduce you.
I happen to have a great relationship.
I think a really
with
good
and
fit for the project.
Yeah, I happen to have a pretty good relationship with their spokesperson at least, so we can talk afterwards if that's something that would be of interest to you. A couple more questions from the community there that have been scrolling in the chat. One of them is, would rewards be better or worse depending on the node operator's location? So if you needed more people in Europe or you needed more people in the United States, are those rewards going to be higher or lower or just the same?
Yeah, I think ultimately there will be like increased incentives to fill gaps. Basically, that would be the way that we would approach it. Right now, again, because of kind of how things are set up, that's not really a factor. But as soon as we decentralize the node gateways and we distribute them, then that is likely going to come into play. Okay.
And when the mainnet, and I may have missed it, I did have to step away for a second. So if mainnet rewards increase 1-to-1 and search volume increases by 100 times, how does that affect the node rewards? Would that increase the rewards by 100 times?
It definitely wouldn't be on a 1-to-1 basis. I mean, just from like an economic standpoint, but more traffic. There's a fairly complex formula there. That's factoring in all these different variables, but ultimately, I mean, it's like a marketing expense for us. We view it as the node operator rewards. It's not just an infrastructure expense; it's a marketing expense. And so, if the node operator community is continuing to drive growth of searches because they're spreading the word and they're passionate, and like these people who are like, oh, I want PreSearch merchandise, and like if node operators are our ambassadors, then it becomes easier and more interesting to increase that marketing budget into the node operator community, right? And so we've already seen great success with it. We definitely think it's some of the best marketing money that we spend as far as whatever that portion of the rewards is, and looking at definitely increasing that budget, and then there will be an increase in searches. There will be more that's happening activity wise on the network, and so we're kind of anticipating there's going to be an increase in node operator rewards. But ultimately it does have to kind of be economically sustainable, and there's kind of certain thresholds where unfortunately it can't really be just 1-to-1, because right now the way it's happening, I mean we're kind of normalizing that amount a little bit, because like there is kind of lower traffic, so we're compensating for it. So as it goes live, like it's going to change. And likely it's going to increase, but it's not going to be like, oh yeah, traffic 10x's and rewards 10x. That hey man, if the node operator community is driving crazy user signups and it's people in the markets that we're looking to really target in North America and Europe in particular right now, then yeah, maybe it will. But yeah, that it's kind of an interesting way that we're kind of integrating all those different things together.
All right, and kind of maybe a two-part question if I get it together properly. Nodes right now are, I wouldn't say complex. Obviously, you have Lefty Chris who writes a guide on how to do it, and it's well written, and people can use that to launch their own nodes. But it does require some type of technical savvy and know-how. And I know personally, for me, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the assistance of some people who have that ability. And I have launched a couple. Do you see yourselves trying to make it easier in the future for people who want to launch a node, and whether it's a single click or a few clicks, instead of actually writing lines of code and things like that?
Absolutely. I think, the opportunity is through partnerships with different node platforms. Strong might be one. We've been working with Threefold as well. I saw in the node operator Telegram group that like the CEO of Racknerds is now hanging out in there and seems to see the opportunity. So ultimately it could be like, launch a node as a link or a pop-up menu that asks you which platform you want to go to. And then it automatically just, passes in your node ID and, ultimately you got to figure out how you set up your billing there, which is, there's always going to be kind of like multiple steps there. But once you've got that done, theoretically, it could be like a, 2-3 click process to set up nodes. And that's absolutely part of the vision. We definitely see that happening. And that's kind of, ultimately what we want right now. It's, we try to make it as simple as possible for, non-technical people, but it's there's definitely still a technical element and we get questions in there. But then we, at the same time, get people, who are some semi-technical, I guess, saying, oh man, this is the easiest node setup I've ever experienced. So it's like, we try to balance things out, but ultimately, the easier, the better. So.
All right. And I'm glad you brought that up. And I think this will wrap it up for me. Right now it's fairly inexpensive to get a VPS to launch the nodes. But in the future, if we see increased traffic and there's increased latency as far as nodes and searches, and then the requirements to host the nodes, at least on the VPS, increase, do you see yourself having some type of a balance issue as far as the cost to, at least host it on the VPS and the rewards that are coming in? Obviously there is a balance between wanting to keep it somewhat profitable for the node operator versus the expense that they're incurring. Do you see any issues moving forward with increased traffic based on the requirements right now with the VPS?
I think like in the short term to midterm, we're probably going to be good. I don't see that, nodes are going to be like so inundated that, they're going to need to increase, hardware requirements. But I mean, ultimately, we basically know that, there's X, kind of cost range with VPS. We know some people figure out ways to get it done for free and everything, which, hey, that's awesome. But there's kind of a set cost. There's definitely, a little bit of administration time. And, we know that core function, even at like the base level of staking, needs to be profitable. And so, basically, we'll ensure that happens. And then, obviously you can influence that more by however many you stake, or if you get economies of scale, if you're running many nodes. But we kind of feel like it's such a lightweight process as far as what they're actually doing, which is why like Racknerds, I know there was some people early on that were trying to host it through Racknerds, and they were like, nope, this is crypto mining, and then boom, they would shut it down, right?
Yeah.
And now they're like, somebody told us they're actually marketing, hey, launch your PreSearch node on Racknerds, because they've realized it's a lightweight process. This is not crypto mining. And so, I mean, theoretically, any VPS is going to be able to, function. We designed it that way to be pretty lightweight. So
awesome. Well, that wraps it up for me. And thank you so much for talking to us. And I'll hand it over to Rob to close.
Yeah, Colin, is there anything that maybe that we haven't asked you that you wanted to tell us, or something maybe that we didn't know? That would be a good time if there's anything.
Yeah. I mean, definitely appreciate the opportunity, and appreciate your support, and all the node operators' support. Honestly, it's been amazing, and really kind of gets us excited about things. We want to, make sure that this is a great opportunity for node operators. We're always kind of looking at that and looking at, ways. That's amazing. That's a great shirt, man. And so, I mean, yeah, there will be some stuff, I would say, over the next couple of weeks, kind of as we're approaching mainnet, where we're there are going to be some changes, looking at, minimum stakes and whatnot. So kind of keep an eye on our weekly updates on Friday, and on social media and within the node operator Telegram group for some of that information. And then yeah, overall, we're just kind of working on this short-term roadmap to get ready to release mainnet. So there's a lot that we've got coming up, where most of it's like 95% done, and it's kind of like finishing touch stuff. So Web3 withdrawals, that's going to be a really big one. Getting this new anti-abuse system in place, and replacing the previous RVS. That's going to then also enable us to like decrease the minimum threshold for doing withdrawals, or transferring, from search rewards into your savings account, so you can stake it on nodes, that type of thing. And then, yeah, switching to presearch.com, making it that much more marketable. There's kind of all these things that I think over the next 2 months are going to be really big. And then, yeah, we've got some partnerships that are going to be, real power drivers. So excited to share that stuff as we can, but it's coming up. So it's exciting.
Awesome, Colin. I just want to thank you again for your time today. I feel like we've learned so much in just a short time, and we're so happy to be on this journey with you. And we look forward to having you back, maybe when mainnet launches, for a follow-up. And we'll be here launching nodes and supporting the network. And we really appreciate your time tonight. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Grant. Really appreciate it as well. Great to meet you guys. Definitely look forward to coming back.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. See you guys around.
Ciao, brother.
Bye.